Welcome to the Shades of Grey podcast with Dr. John Gray, New York Times bestselling author of Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus. And now, Dr. John Gray.
Hey everybody, this is such a great talk. It was like last night was the full moon in July. In some of the Eastern countries, it's called the moon of the guru, the teacher. And it's like I stayed up really late on this topic, just exploring the ideas I wanted to share with you. And had a great night's sleep, woke up. I'm totally excited to share these ideas of the thief of happiness. And it's not what you think. You know, everybody's got books on happiness and how to be happy and so forth. And it's good to know how to be happy. Basically, you're happy when you get what you want. You're happy when you're getting what you need. But it's not lasting. That's the problem, is that you notice that you'll suddenly have something and you're doing something and now you're like, I'm so happy. And then suddenly you notice somebody has something that you want that you don't have. And then you become unhappy. Okay? It's kind of like, you know, I'm feeling really good about myself. And then I see somebody else, they're like selling more books than me, or they're having a more beautiful partner or something, or they're happily married, or whatever it might be. What happens is we're happy and then suddenly we're not happy. And what takes away our happiness, we're going to explore today in a variety of different ways. Because see, inherently, we are all happy all the time. See, you are your authentic soul. One of the characteristics of your authentic soul, without having to do anything, you come into this world happy. And I won't say totally happy. When you're getting what you need, see, you come into this world and you need food. So mama gives you milk. You're breastfeeding. That's a happy baby, okay? So it's a happy baby drinking the milk because you're getting what you need. And you believe you can have what you need. And then when you stop believing you can have what you need, then you start not wanting what you have. So what frees us, what begins to start, you know, what starts taking away our happiness is comparing. So this whole talk is based upon the theme. Gigi, thanks for coming in. This talk is based upon a quote I heard one time, which is, comparing is the thief of happiness. And it's a paradoxical statement. It's so true because suddenly, you know, you have what you want and then suddenly, and you're feeling good in your life, you're happy, you did this. And then you see, you go online, which is why we're so unhappy today, and you see somebody who has more. And often the more they have is a big fake because often they may have more things. And so you assume that I'd like those things. If I had those things, I'd be happier, but they're not happier. Hi, Kaylor, thanks for coming and joining in. It's a cliche that, you know, material wealth doesn't make you happy. It sure makes me happy, but then I'm not happy. What happens is there's always somebody who has more. See, there's a shift here, which is you start to compare. But what made you happy in the first place? What made you happy in the first place is that you compared. So comparison is the thief of happiness. But it's also one of the reasons for happiness, not the real reason, but it's part of it. You can't blame comparison for everything, but definitely on one level, from one perspective, you're happy, and then you start to compare somebody who got something more than you, then you start to feel unhappy. I talk about this all the time in my relationship classes, which is one of the common things that happens for women in relationships. Because they have higher estrogen, they're more in touch with their feelings. That's all there is to it. Now, are they able to articulate their emotions? No. Okay, that's where you need my app, the Mars-Venus Heart Space app, because if women are stressed, the most powerful stress reducer is to make estrogen, and the most powerful estrogen stimulator is to hear what your emotions are. See, I can feel depressed, but feeling depressed doesn't do anything. It just makes me more depressed. I can feel rejected, and it doesn't do anything except make me feel more rejected. I can feel inadequate, and it doesn't make me feel any better. This is where people, I wrote a book called What You Feel, You Can Heal. and people, by the way, because I explain how to do this, how to find happiness through your feelings, you heal your feelings. Any negative feeling needs to be healed. And what by healing is actually a wound inside of your soul. When you have, when you feel rejected, you're believing you're not good enough. You're believing you can't have love again. You feel, if you're feeling stress from that. Anytime you're feeling stress, you feel stressed or you don't feel happy. Either one, you don't feel happy. And I talk about feeling happy all the time. It's not like the child doesn't come in just feeling happy. This is our authentic self. You come into the world open with when you're cold and somebody gives you a warm jacket, then you feel, oh, so happy because you felt a need. Mariah, thanks for coming in. You felt a need and that need was fulfilled. Zariah, thank you so much. Thanks for sharing this, everybody. Thanks for joining in our talks here. These talks inspire me to give these talks, the fact that you come and we share and so forth. I just heard that my talk on The Secret got 50% more views. And yes, I'm comparing. So I'm comparing our normal talks at this stage where we're at as we started this program. It will build and build as more people find out. But as we get 1,000 people listening to my talk, wow, 1,000 people, that's fantastic. And so then I get 1,500, then I compare. And I go, oh, okay, so that's really happy. And then, then I go, but I can't the word The Secret is a big buzzword, law of attraction, buzzwords, and those people all came to see. There's so much more than The Secret and the buzzwords, but it's still a good talk, and it's a good chunk of information in life. So I compare, oh, we're so happy because I got more of that. And then I'll go look and I'll see some other person, they have 50,000 viewers. And it's not like I can't get it, I just got to get the message out there. Occasionally, I'll just to be happy, I'll go over to Dave Asprey just did a interview with me 3 weeks ago, and there's 86,000 people that watched it. And then I look at other ones he's done, and within a few weeks, and there's like 5,000, 10,000. But mine, 86,000, just 3 weeks later, or 2 months later. So anyway, you're getting the idea is if you compare. I have a TED Talk, and of course I've got millions of people on my TED Talk, and if ever I'm in a bad mood or something, I can always just go to that TED Talk and read the reviews. The reviews are so wonderful. It's love. Now why, here I am comparing myself with others, and I'm not getting millions of views. I see, other people getting millions of views for different topics and whatever. I get it. Well, for me, I start to compare, and then I start to feel inadequate, not equal to, not enough. And what I have to realize is whenever you're feeling not enough, it's because there's a need inside of you, and you're not getting enough of that. And if we translate it into my more modern Mars-Venus ideas, we have these basic needs. And when it comes to men and women, our needs are different in order to be fulfilled. And when it comes to just being humans, without the Mars-Venus glasses, we also have different needs, like the need for significance, okay? Everybody has the need for significance in their life. But men, if we do gender, we go, but men need significance in what they can provide, and women get significance from feeling people want to give to me. My partner's committed to me. People want to give to me. That gives women significance. Certainly women can make a lot of money and whatever and feel significant, but as I wrote about in this book, For Women Only, material success does not make women happy unless they also have love. In the beginning it can, because you think, oh, material success is going to make you happy. It's a cliche, and it's also a cliche that rich people say it's not the wealth, it's the love in your life. But it is the wealth, okay? The wealth will take you to a place where you're above your survival level, okay? When you're making money that you really need money in order to survive, it makes you really, really happy. We're now in the process of creating 3 trainings. One is the Mars-Venus Mastery. The other one is Mars-Venus Success, where you look at all your obstacles to achieving success. And that's those are the 2 primary support systems that we have for people that do Mars-Venus coaching. And Rich, who's been with me for 25 years, he's going to briefly give you an idea of what you learn in our coaching programs and so forth. And our longer ones, where you actually can become a Mars-Venus coach and help other people, but even the shorter ones, where you're just learning the ideas. So you have relationship mastery, Mars-Venus mastery, improve communication, get what you want in your relationships, find the right person for you, heal from divorce, all of our different programs that we have. And when you become a Mars-Venus coach, then you can teach those courses, the success courses and so forth, the dating courses, the healing the heart courses, managing stress courses. You know, you learn all these things, how to provide these trainings. You become a teacher yourself. And what a blessing that is. And so Rich has sort of accumulated all my teachings over the years. And you know, I can keep working with the coaches personally, but they also have these courses that have sort of gathered together my best ideas to teach to people and give practices and give support and so forth. And that's what the coaching training is. But for those that, you know, just want to have their lives work better, you know, the mastery of Mars-Venus, we have a course for that. We have a course for success, which is identifying where your blocks are, getting clear about what you want in your life. Clarity is important. What's holding you back? Get the support for holding you back. It's more hands-on awareness through me, and then hands-on with my coaches. And then also you can become a coach. And we're adding also to this whole program the money mastery course, because in my life I've created abundance, and people say, John, you should teach people how to create abundance. And so it will be a course that we provide, a training we provide called Money Mastery. And in terms of that course, I will outline a simple program where people can actually start making money right away doing what I ask them to do, giving them a program to do it. So anyway, this is what's to come, and it's very exciting to be ready to prepare this and to hand this off to you. A big part of the Money Mastery course is, of course, we have coaching to support you and continuing to take the steps necessary to make money. And some of you are already making money, so you don't need to do that. Maybe others want to have extra money. But one of the things that I will be providing is a series of videotapes that will promote health products, that Mars-Venus health products, that you can sell online without having to have inventory at all. You basically will have your own website. We will coach you to create your own website, which then promotes these products and how you can use online marketing without spending any money and start marketing your products. And it all goes to you. You get, just like you're a store, and you get to sell the Mars-Venus brand, and you'll have me. You can market me or AI versions of you or whoever you want with the scripts that I use, which are my scripts, in order to sell the benefits of nutritional products in order to have better relationships. I don't focus a lot on that in my talks, but you know, I always do talk about the power of Lithium Orotate and how important that is for people. The other products that I use and I find very beneficial, you can then have the Mars-Venus branding. So I've been working on this. I used to have a health food store, and I realized I made a lot of money doing that. And I realized I can help all of you, anybody out there, to use my videos, to have your own store, and you don't have to inventory, and you make the full profit. It's an amazing program for money mastery that we're putting together. So that's all very exciting as well. And because I thought about, you know, these courses we want to provide, and some people feel like they just can't afford it. And I thought, well, let's just help them make some money so they can afford it. And if you do, you know, we'll create a package as well. If you do relationship mastery and what's the other one? Success mastery, because you have to overcome your blocks to be successful at the Money Mastery course. We'll make the Money Mastery program free for you, and that will be even better. You know, you can pay for it if you just want to do that. That's fine, but we don't know that you'll be that successful at it. And also, when you are so successful at Money Mastery, money creates problems in relationships, because as soon as you get above survival, you need to have relationship skills. Money is great when you need it, but then once you have what you need on a financial level, then our emotional needs become very important. And the quality of our relationships, whether we're single or in a relationship, make all the world of difference. So anyway, that's what's coming up. We're very excited about this. I'm so excited about it. I just wanted to share a little bit about it. maybe rich. And of course, the bigger prize is what we find is that everybody, almost everybody who gets our coaching program, who talks to a Mars Venus coach, you see how easy it is to immediately make your relationships better, be more successful in your life, master your life. And now you're going to see how easy it will be to start adding income to your life if you don't have a good income source. Happy, not just rich. Yeah, I've been influenced by your books. I'm dying to get the 20 to 30-minute interview on my podcast. Yeah, absolutely. You go to Beata at marsvenus.com. Go to Beata at marsvenus.com. And if you're interested in doing podcasts with me, I do big podcasts. I even do little podcasts, whatever my schedule allows. Certainly the big podcasts I make more time for. But if it's a small one, I'm always happy to help entrepreneurs get there and support you. So I have also on the phone, and again, the thief of happiness. Okay, so once again, if you don't have your survival needs being met, you have to fulfill those needs or you will be unhappy. But once you get those basic needs fulfilled, then your emotional needs become more important. And I include a lot of things in terms of emotional needs, which is things that will balance your male and female side. So if you're a man more on your female side, your emotional needs are really you have to do the work to come back to your male side. And for women, if you're way too far on your male side, you need to do the work to come back to your female side. But you can use men to do it. And men, you can use women to help you come back to your male side, because it's the woman that inspires us. It's always been the muse. The woman inspires. You know, my wife just the other day, the fantastic talk I gave before this one, I don't remember the name of it, but it was basically on apologies and the importance of apologies to have a man just fall in love with you. And it was just my wife. Just that day, she says, "I'm sorry I was so tough on you." And I just fell in love with her again. Anytime a woman is accountable with an intent behind to be better, of course, you know, her intent is always to not be tough with me, but be soft and sweet and kind, but also be assertive and strong, and sometimes two. And so she gets tough. Her friends sometimes see us interacting together. She says, you know, Elodie, I'm not Elodie. Elodie is my granddaughter. It was my wife, Vicky, and they'll say, "Vicky, sometimes they're surprised. They say, sometimes you talk to your husband like a dog," because she feels so safe to be sweet and loving and nice and be just happy. And, you know, the tone of voice is wonderful. And sometimes she doesn't have it. It doesn't bother me. And I explained why it doesn't bother me in my talk before. And again, this is all about happiness, is if I didn't understand women and to know that women, when they're stressed, they can't be loving. And so what most guys will do is when she's not loving, they'll compare her to how she was when they fell in love, and then they'll resent you. Women will see their husbands ignoring you, doing less for you, and they'll go into, well, he's not what he used to be, and you'll compare, and then you'll feel resentful. Ultimately, all of comparison only causes suffering. Whether it's I'm caring how much money I have, how much success I have, how much love I have, how much good looks I have, how much hair I have, whatever it has to be, how healthy I am. All of this comparison itself doesn't cause suffering. It's only when your needs are not being met that comparing causes suffering. Otherwise, comparing will always make you happy. And it's not always going to make you happy because you're not always comparing things. Sometimes you're just in the moment and you're focused on what you want. You're achieving your goals. Sometimes you're receiving love and support and you're in that moment. But then at another moment, you're feeling happy because your needs are being met. And when your needs are being met, one of the symptoms is happiness. Another is passion and motivation. You know, when it comes to our success training, a whole key is learning to process your emotions so you come back to your authentic self. And you do that by understanding what you need, because when you get in touch with your needs, and I explain this to all the women who think they don't need a man in their life, I explain to you that you can't be in love with men. You can't have a loving relationship with a man unless you feel I need a relationship with a man, which is why I wrote this relationship book, which is Be Happy With or Without a Man. And you can be happy without a man. It's just with a man, you have a journey where you can become happier and happier. Okay, and I explain how that a man in your life can raise your estrogen levels higher than any other experience, in generally speaking. Okay, but you know, there's different levels of life and different needs that we have at different times of our life, but it's always finding the right hormonal balance for who we are at our age, which is appropriate to us, which is really going to lower our stress. And then when we get what we need, our reaction to getting what we need is happiness. Now, it can also be, one of my needs is not for you to do for me, it's for me to do something for you. That's also a need. I have the need to make a difference, and everybody does in some way, but it has to be the right setting. When women are on their male side and they're feeling their need to make a difference, it feels good when they're doing it. But then when someone's not doing it for them and it's equal back, they don't feel good. So it comes back to, once again, your need to receive. For men, our primary need is to make a difference. Okay, I need to get out of my comfort zone and do something to help others. Do something that will achieve my goal, which the outcome of the goal should be to help others. First, to help myself, then it's to help others. So you got to be able to help yourself, pay your bills, learn what you need to learn in life, and then it becomes all about, okay, now let me use what I've got to help others. And so then that's what I need to do. But then my feeling of what I need to receive is when men can truly value women. See, women go, I don't feel appreciated by a man. I don't, it's a big complaint women have. And again, they're comparing how he treated her in the beginning when there was the newness, and the newness stimulates dopamine in men, estrogen in women. That polarity creates attraction, motivation, and interest. And when a man is motivated and interested in a woman, and she will then respond with appreciation and love and connection and making love. All those, one of the factors is when she responds with love, whether it's sex or not, it's the meaning, the love. Sex is just one doorway to love. And when she responds with the love, that's when men realize, that's what I really need. Okay, this is why I need my wife, is when he feels loved. Otherwise, he can't feel his need for his wife, because his primary need for a partner in life is to feel significance from giving. And unless my mirror neurons are open, and in my other talks I explain the science of this, is your mirror neurons, if you're a man, first of all, mirror neurons allow you to receive. Basically, my heart is open when my mirror neurons open up. And what that means is I can feel what other people feel. And when I feel what they feel, then I connect with them and I receive this benefit of connection. But I feel what they feel. So when a man has his mirror neurons open and a woman is appreciating him, then he can feel her appreciation. And when he can feel her appreciation, that's the only way he can let love in. See, men to a great extent, and everybody is limited to their ability to feel loved, but for men, it's the first maybe 7 years, and then the next 6 or 7 years is when his mirror neurons are open wide. Okay, so their first 7 years, they're totally open wide. That means you feel everything that's going on, which helps you to connect with your feelings. If what's going on is not what you need, then it's too painful and you'll shut down your ability to feel what you feel inside. You lose touch with the self, which is developing, the awareness of self. If you don't get your needs met, let's just say I'm crying and my parents hold me and I go, oh, I'm safe, so I need to feel safe, and my parents provide safe, so now I feel trusting and I feel loved and I feel cared for. This is how I begin to develop an awareness of worthiness, and worthiness. And so then when my parents aren't there for me, or they don't really know how to give me what I need emotionally as a child, I have certain needs: feed me, love me, be kind to me, be happy around me. These are all kind of, let me be a part of the family, don't judge me, don't condemn me, don't over-control me, don't interrupt my process of learning. There's a lot of things that children need that we're just not aware of. One of the great helpful books for people who all do therapy with me, I always say, we have to learn to heal the inner child, and often people don't know what they're missing in childhood because they were programmed to think that it was all normal. Nobody wants to blame their parents when they're children. That's survival. You can't blame your parents, so you have to make everything they do right. So if they punish you, you think you're worthy of punishment. You think that you have to be good in order to be, you have to fulfill their expectations in order to be worthy of love. So we begin learning we're not worthy, And it's not that we come in knowing that we're worthy, because we don't know anything, but we are just open to receiving. And if we receive, then we begin to experience a sense of worthiness. Now, why that's important, that shuts down for men particularly a lot when puberty hits, because when puberty hits, his mirror neurons close. Testosterone shoots up. When testosterone shoots up, his mirror neurons close. It's the relationships with women where a man has the ability to have his testosterone go up and his mirror neurons stay open because he loves her. See, loving her is openness, feeling, and all that stuff. And again, coming back down to sexual attraction is so powerful to awaken the heart, because you can measure a man's hormones when he's sexually attracted to his partner. His testosterone goes up and his estrogen goes up. And that's why romance is a key factor. Now, in helping couples, beyond menopause and so forth, often they'll lose interest in sex, and it's not the only way to feel loved, okay? So, when you're helping each other, that when a man is helping a woman naturally and he's not feeling blamed, then his mirror neurons can open more. So there is this relationship as couples get older, they're helping each other. And that's the beauty of getting older, is you need more help. And so you can get help, and you can help your partner, or you can receive help from others, which makes us vulnerable. And when we're vulnerable and we're taking responsibility for getting what we need, we're on our male and female side. So I don't want to put everything on sex. It's just that, for those who do the work, okay, and they still have the biology that can allow them to enjoy great sex, my gosh, it's such a blessing. Same thing with meditation. Learning to meditate for me was a whole key factor of being able to always come back to my true self so I could self-correct my behaviors. Let me come back to that comment. I'm happy to read it. I just needed to finish the thought. That's happy, not just rich. For me and my wife, doing dishes together is the best relationship booster. She has my full attention because my hands are wet and I cannot escape to Instagram. We have 20, 30 minutes of Venus talk. That's so great. Wow. I admire that enormously. That's fantastic. This is a really good thing. Like a comeback, I know that you're also rich. Does your wife work outside the home? Let me just know that's a key factor. If you can ask him that. Me? No, I was asking the last question that we just had. My partner's constantly high stressed with work. When I ask for something, I've experienced him forgetting. Is that the person who just came in before? I don't think it is. The question. Okay, so if you can ask that last person who does dishes with his wife, happy and rich, I'd like to know what his wife does as well. And then I'll look at this new question. Yes, she does. So yeah, there's a tendency, and this is a study we did, when men are primarily making the money outside and women have more time to raise the children, have a home, and he's taking care of her, typically in that situation, men do not do a lot of domestic work because women have the time to do it. So it makes sense if she has more time to do it. But women don't enjoy doing that domestic work because today's world, they don't have the time to do it. And they don't have a social life that supports their female side, so they actually get to enjoy doing routine activities. When a woman's on her male side all the time, her dopamine receptor sites become flat. That means she needs stress to feel alive. Okay, so she needs new and addiction to new and different, or complaining. Complaining is also new and different. You get to complain about something new. So you can get addicted to complaining. You can get addicted to your work. You can get addicted to soap opera, whatever. New and different is you become addicted to that. She works in school from 7:30 to 1:30. So what a beautiful balance, okay? Because she basically gets to be on her male side, and then she has time to come home and be on her female side. But because she has time to be on her, because she is out working, the research shows that when women are out working, men have a tendency to find the balance of, well, then I want to help you more in the home. But when women have, when women do have enough love and support from a man providing for them in the more traditional thing, a source of relief from stress was routine activities. You can see movies back from the 60s when women were stressed, they'd be like cleaning the floor and doing something to sort of feel, their masculine side, because you want to find that balance of doing something. But routine activities actually are calming to the female brain. They're boring to the male brain. They're boring to the female brain if she's more on her male side. And what men need is not so much the routine activities. They need their cave time, which is challenging activities to restore their testosterone and then come out of the cave to give more to their partners. Now, I should qualify this, is that this whole book, Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus, for example, for women only, where I emphasize a big part of this book is how to ask for help, when to ask for help. And I have to realize that there was a mistake I made in that book, which is some women are already feeling the need for help all the time, okay? And they're all asking for help, they're expecting help and so forth. Then I've just sort of reaffirmed a weakness, okay? Like a woman without a male side, okay? So when a woman is asking for help and getting it, it's strengthening her female side, which needs to be strengthened while also being on her male side because she's taking responsibility by asking. Okay, so there's a beautiful balance there. But if a woman is already asking for too much or needing too much, that can just exhaust a man. So it's up to the man in that situation to make sure that he's setting the boundary of how much I can give and how much I can't. So that's why I have these 5-minute asks, I have the 10-minute ask of sharing. You have to limit the time where you're needing a man's help, but you need lots of little times. And that's the whole idea, the theme of Mars-Venus mastery, is to realize that little things make a big difference. And this is, without this knowledge, it's crucial for men once they're being successful. They just have such terrible relationships because they reach sort of a plateau of being successful. And it's like, how can I make more money? I'm already making good money. We've got a good life together. I'm doing this. And their wife's going to be unhappy. Coming back to, what is the theme of today, which is, the thief of happiness, is she'll start to compare. And you start to compare when your needs are not being met. And when your survival needs are being met, then you will have new needs. And when those new needs are fulfilled, you will have another set of needs. And when those needs are fulfilled, you have another set of needs. So you have the needs basically for bonding with other women. Spending time with other women is a real need that you have. And spending romantic time with a man and feeling his support is a real need that you have. And caring for someone, unconditional love, either cat or a dog or children, not that they're all the same, but you have to feel responsible, or helping the poor, or having some cause where you're helping those who need of your help, for both men and women, regardless of gender. You have this more mature need of giving unconditional love. Then you have the healing, of yourself. That's a need you have as well, because that's PTSD that will happen to everybody. It used to be called the midlife crisis. Now, it can happen at any time, but it happens big time at the midlife crisis. This was a big deal when the majority of the population was trying to figure out how to do this. Send a voicemail. Okay. When that was a different part of my brain that operates the computer. What you get from me is me just connecting to my pure intelligence. My unfolding and potential. Through meditation, I learned to connect. And in practical terms, that's also connecting, cleaning out my pineal gland. You'll see this all over the internet where people talk about this. We have a pineal gland in there, which is kind of like a little antenna that pulls in intelligence of the universe, organizing power of the universe, sending out messages all the time to providing attraction, manifesting what you want by creating opportunities, and also connecting with the wisdom of how you personally have a destiny, how you personally have a channel in life to make a difference in the world. And as you align yourself with that, then abundance comes to you. But also, it doesn't mean it's all, follow the golden brick road, whatever that is. No, there's a lot of challenges along the way, without a doubt, because we will weave off. It's a winding road, the winding golden road. So when it winds this way, it feels really good when you're going that way. But now you got to wind back the other way. And if you don't wind back the other way, you suffer over here. And then when you're suffering, ironically, you tend to repeat over and over the suffering until you learn to go the other direction. And it just makes sense. If you don't know how to pivot, and what is pivoting? Pivoting is learning to learn I made a mistake, or this is no longer as significant for me. This is no longer what I'm needing in this moment. So this is where a wonderful teaching. I was just listening to a talk with John D. Martini, who's also a public speaker and becoming a friend of mine. But he was also close to my mother when I left to become a monk in Houston, Texas. He's a couple of years younger than me. He would go to my mother's bookstore, which is all about, spiritual books, esoteric books, and everything. And he spent years, hanging out there, learning all this stuff, and then went on to become a doctor, a chiropractor, wonderful public speaker. He has a seminar called Breakthrough. And but anyway, I brought him in because his whole thing, when I was listening to his talk, it was all about values. And I look at, values. I mean, I looked at myself. What do I value? I value teaching. That was something, because I valued teachers. So clearly, part of me wanted to be like that. So I value teaching. I value love. I was, came back after being a monk. If you hadn't had sex and not having sex with yourself, this is pure discipline, then strengthens your masculinity. That's why I teach men, never do porn. I also teach men, don't have sex with yourself. If you do it sparingly, because it's just there, and you don't use any stimulation. If it just wakes up and it's there, again, all you have to do is meditate. It will go away. You transmute that energy, or you go take a cold shower, go exercise, transmute that energy. It's just blocked energy down south, and so it stays down there. You want to use that energy, but not waste it by having sex with yourself or doing porn to stimulate that energy and then to get addicted to it. This is just zapping the life force out of men. You do that, and your life just falls apart. You have depression, you have procrastination, you have anxiety, you have low self-esteem, you feel lost in the world because you're disconnecting from your spirit. In a sense, there are systems that talk about when you sustain that energy. For men, the semen actually goes up the spine to the pineal gland, which then opens up your awareness. And of course, you don't want to drink fluoridated water ever, or teeth put in your mouth, anything with fluoride. Because it's known that when your pineal gland, fluoride in the water actually calcifies your pineal gland, so you have no source. You have no connection to the ability to self-correct. You only have your programming, so you become programmed people. And it's a big part of the society are programmed people. They don't think for themselves. They don't have a connection to self-correction. They're just repeating and repeating. That's not you who listen to these talks. You wouldn't be attracted to me at all. What you want is ChatGPT or something like that. Whenever you ask ChatGPT, what you're getting is standard collective consciousness information, and edited greatly, by the way, edited greatly. But when I ask, I work with it all the time to be inspired by its answers, because its answers are always wrong. Its answers are coming from a collective consciousness of information that has gone the wrong direction. We have war, we have poverty, we have depression, we have sickness, we have disease based upon the wisdom of this collective consciousness. And so when you connect with your pineal gland, you can begin self-correcting and recognizing the lies. Believing a lie, is one of the major sources of our unhappiness. Why? Whenever you believe a lie, you're not believing the truth. The truth is already contained within yourself. The truth will set you free. And part of it, you have to be free from negative emotions to know the truth. But they go together. When you learn how to process your emotions, whenever you're not loving or when you're stressed, and you learn how to lower your stress, and there's many ways to do it. Processing emotions is one you can do by yourself. Another is your relationships, learning how to communicate better in your relationships. Another is 100 other things you can do in your life if you're a woman to start rebalancing your male side with your female side. And for some women who are too much on your female side, which is going to create another kind of neediness, and insecurity and doubt and mistrust and whatever. That's too much of your female side. How do you find the balance? And you can't look to a man for the full balance. You have to look to yourself, and you have to learn to do your inner work without depending on someone or going and paying for a therapist or a coach to do it. And ironically, I would say for any woman who's too far on her female side, take our Mars-Venus course and start coaching people. There is a reality. Now, if part of your destiny is to help people, and you find yourself being attracted to self-help, but it doesn't seem to be working for you, okay? So here's a really interesting thing, which is if you're attracted to self-help and you take all these courses, I hear these people talking all these courses, and they say like, I've taken this, I've done this, and I've done this, and I still have all these problems. And I say, well, that's because you're drawn to that self-help because part of your mission in life is to help others. And you're holding back from helping others because you think you have to be perfect before you can help others. But what you have to realize is any growth you've done, if you want to help others, somebody will come to you who needs that step. You're never going to get to the top. There are always more steps. But I teach my coaches, take one step, and there'll be people that need to take that step. You don't have to be John Gray, who spent 50 years in personal development and growth and developing his full mental potential and great relationships, abundance in his life. You don't need that. You're drawn to the messages I have because you can have that in your life, but it's one step at a time. And as a coach, you help people take one step. There'll be people that need that information. And what fulfillment it is to be able to do that. And it's the fulfillment of, I did that. And I can see that. I see it with my little 3-year-old. It's so sweet because, see, we don't push her to do anything. We follow her interests and let her do it. We don't correct her at this young age. We just keep letting her figure things out on her own unless she asks for help. If she asks for help, we always give it. And she'll do things on her own, and there'll just be this whole sense of satisfaction that she has. But it takes a lot longer for her to master something. At the playground, she'll be watching other kids. And I'm not over there going, hey, you should do this, and I'll show you how to do it, and you should do it like this. No, just give her time to do what she wants to do. And so she will, because she didn't have people telling her what to think all the time, she is a thinker. She's like watching everybody. How are they doing that? What could I do? And there's no frustration inside of her at that young age of comparing, gee, they're so good at it and I'm not. See, this has all been programmed into us, this comparison. All she's doing is observing and learning and taking it in. And then when she takes a step, she throws the ball. She doesn't feel bad that the ball was not as good as the way I throw the ball. To her, it was a step initiated from within herself, aligned with herself. And so what's happening, why can she do that? And why does she have the craziness I see with all these other kids is they're not getting what they need. On an early age, they need regularity, they need sleep. I talk about all the needs that children have in my book, Children Are From Heaven. But also there's another book I recommend, which is Hunt-Gather Parent, which focuses on a dimension that I wasn't even aware of, which is really, really good. The importance of children feeling included all the time in whatever the parents are doing, and less child-centered activities. Instead of like children always thinking about what do I want to play, is just what children really want if they're in a family, if parents are there, is they want to help the parents. They want to be part. They want to copy the parents. The first 7 years is copying the parents. So it's really harming our children to just hand them these video games and handing them these video players where that's just stimulating their attention by high dopamine, desensitizing their dopamine receptor sites, which then gives rise to ADD-type symptoms. I should do a whole talk on that, on ADD. Let's do a talk on that. I wrote a whole book on it. And there's 4 basic types of ADD for men, and there's 4 types for women. It's a huge problem today, and learning how to overcome it is big. And I'll tell you, even feeling overwhelmed or procrastinating, for men, just to know one of the key factors to overcome that is, and for women, same thing, it's inhibited dopamine function. 500 milligrams of vitamin C and 250 milligrams of a grapeseed extract twice a day, and you'll see immediate results when combined with my product, the one product. Now I'm going to come out with all my products like I used to have a long time ago. Because it's so helpful. I mean, you do that in an instant, you'll see, along with the product Lithium Orotate, my Lithium Orotate, which, by the way, is advanced design, for 20 years of being the #1 promoter of Lithium Orotate. Now it's becoming very popular because Harvard University did a study on it saying that it could protect your brain from Alzheimer's, and they're using it as a treatment to prevent Alzheimer's and for people with Alzheimer's, but it does so much more. I had early stage Parkinson's 25 years ago, and it was this, I got all into the health side of stuff because, Parkinson's is just a dysregulation of the brain and dopamine function and serotonin in the brain. And so I figured that out with natural supplements, but I wasn't teaching it because I really didn't need it anymore. Once I stopped needing all these supplements, I started teaching it. But now I need to create my money course for people. I realized that we have our success, we have our money, we have our relationship mastery, Mars, Venus mastery, success mastery, and then we have money mastery. Why not? It's so easy to use my message and have your own health food store without any upfront costs, without anything. And we'll teach you how to do that. And so that will be fantastic. So it's just like, it's steady income coming in and you're helping people. My gosh. You'll see a lot of the podcasters, they're all promoting other people's products and they're getting like 10%, whatever. No, we'll set it up for you and you'll make all the money. Not me at all. It's going to be, you pay me $50 a month to use all my videos and everything. It's a little thing. You're going to be making all this money and giving John chunk change to use his videos, to get us to set it up, to help you do this, to educate you on the benefits of all this. Anybody can do it. It's really quite amazing. It's a system I developed, years ago. I didn't really need the money after a while, and I didn't really need to teach health because I was so healthy. But now, I realize I need to upgrade my courses because many people, they can't take the relationship courses or the coaching because they can't afford it. So let's give you an extra few $1,000s every month, if not a lot of money. So what an amazing gift that came to me and my prayer to help people more. And this was the full moon of July. This is a very powerful time. And I think as I do this, I also want to mention we provide the support with these courses through our coaches. I provide the information, direction, the videos, the programs, the processes, and you work with our coaches who have all learned this stuff and applying it in their lives. They're not perfect. You don't have to be perfect to put it to work. I'll have Rich talk about it, but I want to answer this question somebody had. My partner's overwhelmed with work and forgets things I ask. I remind him and he gets defensive. It's how you ask him. That's it. It's how you remind him. And you'll learn that in this book. I get angry and we repeat this cycle. Yeah, because he anticipates if he doesn't do something, you're going to get angry because you're demanding. You have an expectation that he should be different. And part of what you have to learn is why men forget things. See, women don't forget things. I say, I trusted him and he gets angrier because you're blaming him. You say, I trusted you and you didn't give to me. See, you're hurting. You're telling him he's not enough, not enough. You can't ask for more unless you're already feeling I have enough. So asking for more, and you're only going to ask for more when you want more. So nature wanting more is our nature. However, if you're wanting more because I have lack, now you're coming from victim, and you come from victim, you can't manifest anything. So what is the secret here? The whole secret is we compare. So what she's comparing him to is I'm giving him the relationship. He's not giving back to me. I'm following what John Gray suggests, and he's not responding at all. So you're comparing, and you can look online. You can see people, happy couples. What you don't know is what's behind the doors. Only the therapist knows what's happening in the bedroom. And I tell you, it's not what everybody thinks, okay? It's not all rosy and everything that people think. Look at the levels of divorce. Look at the levels of addiction. You think money's going to make you happy, and it does, but then it doesn't because we start comparing. And it's funny, the more you have, okay, the more you have to compare. And so you start feeling bigger ego. Oh, I have more than others, but there's always going to be somebody with more. And now you're attached to having more instead of having what you need. So wanting more is part of life, and it's fulfilling to want more. One of the secrets of when you're comparing is wanting more. But it's I want more, and that's why I compare and feel unhappy, only because I'm not getting what I need. If you're getting what you need, you will naturally want more, but your desires will be aligned with what's most important to you. The latest new gadget or whatever, or the newest outfit, or going on this trip to this place, or staying in this super fancy hotel, is that really that important? For some people it is. Okay, that's all right. But is it really important for you? You'll find out what is most important to you, and the universe will provide. But you have to be in touch with what's important to you. Need, what is your real need? Now, I had it. I had my own personal jet. It was misery. You think all these people are so happy with jets and everything. You've got to do your own menu. You've got employees, you've got flight attendants, you've got friends. Okay, if you're a big-hearted person like me, you want to bring your friends. They all want to come with you on your plane. Now you're a travel agent for everybody else. Now you've got your luxury of leaving when you want to go. As opposed to, it's great to have boundaries in life. Well, I got to get ready. It's got to be at this time, as opposed to everything's my way. Then I have to figure out my way. I mean, I'm telling you, it was like good and not good. And I'm just so happy to have for me, a business class seat. And I'm so glad, only because my body will be healthier when I get there. That's my only requirement. And, and my life is so much simpler now. I do have this big house. It's just too much bother to sell it and find another one. So I'll stay in this comfort zone, but I don't really need it. If I could go back in time, I would have never bought it because I didn't need it. But we often think bigger than what we really need. And when you think bigger than what you need, then what's happening is putting the energy into doing things that you don't really need is causing you to not focus enough energy on the other things that you need. For example, I was so lucky that when I married Bonnie, because she had 2 little children and I wanted a child, and we did have a child together. And she said, but I want more children because, my last husband left me with 2 kids running that show. I don't want to go through that again. And I, on my knees, said, I promised you. And this was, again, by the way, good communication. She said to me, so you're telling me you won't marry me unless I want to have a child? I said, honey, I'm not saying that at all. What I would like to know is why you wouldn't want to have a child with me. Let's change the subject, change the question, get a different focus. And then she told me all the reasons. And so I heard them, and I made a commitment to that day. I'll say, I'll never make work more important than your needs. We'll set out what your needs are. We'll prioritize those needs. And I always stuck to it because I could have made so much more money. I could have had such a bigger effect in the world. Well, actually, I don't know if I'd have a bigger effect in the world, but I know I would have more money if I put more work and time into my career. But I made sure that I limited the time I would travel to teach. I limited the amount of time that I would write in my books. Okay, I could have just been a workaholic. I wasn't. And it was because I promised my wife that I would tend to our relationship. That was a need. And because I fulfilled that need and other needs that I have other than the work need, I was able to attract and manifest my desires without having to work so hard. Let me just see what this one is. My partner procrastinates a lot and likes to do things in his own time, which is usually the last minute. Okay, so that's an ADD symptom, which I talked about, which is that, and again, put it in the context of our unhappiness. Our unhappiness comes from not fulfilling our basic emotional needs. First of all, we're unhappy if we don't have enough money. But then the next one is we get to a place of having enough money, then enough security. Then we have emotional needs that come up. And if we're not fulfilled, can you put the question back up there? I'm just responding right to this person. Yeah, let's put that question up there. Okay, so we're not getting the question. The last question we had. Yeah, my partner procrastinates a lot. Procrastination is ADD, one form of ADD for men. And he likes to do things in his own time. He should do things in his own time. But why men will tend to wait to the last minute is they literally have a different dopamine function in their brain, which gives us different tendencies towards doing things that we don't need, thinking we do need them, like an addiction. An addiction is something I have to have, I need it, I need my addiction, and you don't need it. But because you produce something that overstimulated your dopamine receptor sites, they then become flat, they desensitize. So now in order to feel alive, you have to do something that you really don't need, that's dangerous, something that's a waste of time, something that will produce danger, dopamine, new and different, drugs, danger, complaining, drama, all these things, war, that stimulates dopamine, and your receptor sites flatten out, and normal life is not fulfilling, and you don't know what you need. That's why you need to read my book, this book, which is How to Get What You Want and Want What You Have. You can't want what you have. The secret of happiness is wanting what you have. And when do you stop wanting what you have? When you compare. And to comparison, the thief of happiness. But why is it that we compare? It's because we're not fulfilling all of our different needs. So if I'm not getting what I need, then I'm stressed. And we think our stress is, oh, I want this and I can't have that. But if what I'm wanting over there that I can't have is not a primary need that I have, then it will never satisfy. It will never be enough. It will never be enough. And it'll never feel like it's enough because my brain is going, I'm thinking that is what's going to fulfill my need, but my needs aren't being met. Well, you have to then identify what are those needs that we have. And they are the need for selfless giving, unconditional love. They're the needs for pure accountability to make myself happy in a healthy way. What am I doing to make myself happy in a healthy way? Ava's here. Good evening from the Netherlands. Let's come back to that question. I haven't finished that last question. I'm on that topic. I love it. So the procrastinates is what's going on is men have desensitized dopamine receptor sites. So it's danger that gives a burst of dopamine. So when you have flattened out dopamine receptor sites, that's ADD, you need higher danger in order to stimulate dopamine that increases testosterone, gives you the energy and motivation to do it. So you wait to the last minute until you have to do it. See, that have to do it will give you a big burst of testosterone. And so your life is based upon procrastinating, unless you have another way to give you that big burst of testosterone. And that is what relationships between men and women can do. That is studying my ideas on how to create the hormones of masculinity and the hormones of femininity. If somebody was listening, maybe Rich, you're listening, or Ken, I did talk about another topic. I wanted to give it, ADD topic. I want to do that. And I want to do a whole topic on called something to do with suck it up. Okay. Because I want to learn about how to become a man, and it's not what you think. It's not what women think. That's a good one. It's like masculinity. What is masculinity? And it's not what women think. Oh, I love that idea. That would be a great title for a talk. Come back. This is a great thing for migraines, for the full moon, especially when I do a lot of work. First of all, with migraines, the man who taught me about migraines was Dr. Hans Nieper. And he was so brilliant. He was solving all health problems using mineral supplementation. So he studied all the minerals. He studied the delivery system of minerals. Because see, every function in your body, it requires an enzyme. Enzymes are the things that make things happen. If you don't have enzymes, you can't digest your food. If you don't have the right enzymes, you don't make dopamine. If you don't have the right enzymes, your metabolism doesn't work. You need the right enzymes, like CoQ10 is an enzyme, or it's a product, but what it does activates your mitochondria, which gives you energy. So you want CoQ10 along with a few other things to help you have energy. So we have all this knowledge. I have all this knowledge, and I'm going to start making short videos on that. And in our Money Mastery, you'll be able to just market these products and make all the money on it. And so that would be so good for you. I'm so happy about this. It just this came to me on the full moon. But somebody here has a question about getting a headache on a full moon. Well, that's lithium deficiency, and that's what Dr. Hans Nieper discovered. And by the way, he wasn't allowed in America. They wouldn't allow him in America. And if you went to his hospital, the presidents were going to his hospital. Reagan was going to his hospital to keep him alive, getting mineral supplementation. And it was illegal. It wasn't illegal to go because you're free to go in America. But if you went to that place, there were CIA agents there, and they monitored anybody who went to him. So when you would come through customs, they would look through your bags and any mineral supplements that you had. And mineral supplements, there's not drugs. It's the simplest thing. It's just the right amount, the right delivery system, and so forth, what it's bonded to. So he had this whole knowledge, Dr. Hans Nieper, and they would take it out of your suitcase, even though it's illegal to do. They would do it. They would call it a drug just because in Germany, he would use this to heal people. So if you're saying this will heal people, then it's a drug. It's not a drug, it's a mineral. And so anyway, finally, it was the Reagan administration that made it legal for him to come into America, and some other senators that were going there and getting healed when their doctors couldn't heal them at all, and the problems were worse. And that's what happened. And so he did a tour, a big sensation of 3 times around the country. Everybody was starting to become aware. And then he mysteriously died. How could that be? There was about 10 years ago where there were 100 different alternative health practitioners that were rather famous. They were all killed in 1 year. That was a big deal on the internet. I mean, literally, it's dangerous to have the answers. Just like so many people at 30 that you can see a video on who had free energy devices, all mysteriously killed when they start to bring it public and so forth. there's forces that want to keep you from having free energy. They want to keep you sick, and they don't want to help you. And we know that drugs, all drugs, by the way, we thank God they can help reduce symptoms. Okay, symptomatic relief, and you have to keep coming back for more drugs. Now, natural supplements, in many cases, you're going to have to keep coming back as well, but only because food is deficient. That's the idea. When you're not getting, see, I can afford organic food, and I've got, and I have simple needs. I've learned to master my body, so I don't really need to eat that much. And I want to eat organic foods and healthy foods. Most people can't do that. They can't afford that, and they don't have access to that. It's fake food out there. It's pesticide food. It's toxic food. So we need to have extra supplementation to get the essential needs that we have. And back to what they found is the headache thing. That was lithium orotate. He was taking away migraines for people with lithium orotate. Now, it wasn't like you just take it and it goes away. You take it for months, and then you find that the amount of what he found is that the amount of migraine headaches would become less and less and less. I will throw out here that a lot of people mysteriously have terrible headaches just because one day they didn't get enough caffeine. Because once you start using caffeine, which is what's called brain fuel, you get addicted to too much. And when you get addicted, it's good for you if you like it. Good for you. Helps your brain work. Research studies show that people who don't get dementia, high percent, are doing caffeine up to about 12 o'clock during the day because it will interfere with your sleep for most people. And so if you don't have your caffeine quota, you will get a migraine. Or if you don't have your caffeine quota, you'll get headaches. There's a story I heard of a guy who just had these terrible headaches on Saturdays. He just couldn't figure it out. Why I was having these huge headaches on Saturday. And it was because during the work week, they always get served coffee. And then on Saturday, they weren't serving coffee. He was at home. And you have these huge headaches. It was just having the right balance of caffeine in your body. So it's the same thing, so much of our problems. Anxiety, a big part of anxiety is not enough chromium and not enough, some of the other things. I'm not going to go into that big talk, but it's berberine. Oh my gosh, berberine, what an amazing supplement. And then cofactors that make berberine work better. And there are these things of cofactors that make the main ingredient better. And I'll be teaching you all that in the Money Mastery class. So you can now sell supplements like all these other people. But, instead of getting 10%, they do their talk and they say, buy this product and put my name by it, and they'll get a little 10% commission. You're going to make the full amount. I'm happy to do that. This is great stuff. It would be our Money Mastery class. I'm so happy to help people. With my brand, it's the Mars Venus brand. People trust Mars Venus products. Bring up the Mars Venus Lithium Orotate. Most of you listening are all ordering my Mars Venus Orotate and getting benefit from it. We're going to create a subscription plan so you don't have to pay as much and you just get it every month. But this isn't just lithium orotate. This is rhodiola, which in itself produces huge amounts of dopamine. Proven. It has ashwagandha, helps to lower stress. Proven. It has saffron. 28 studies showing that it's more effective than antidepressants, but which is not to say a lot. But still, it shows that people get benefit from it. So, and other things in there, the minerals I put in there. And of course, the lithium orotate is the highlighted mineral because what the research is showing, if you don't have enough lithium, at least 1 milligram flowing in your body all the time, you'll be stressed. And it is what balances your dopamine and serotonin levels, balances your hormone levels. And the problem is that you lose up lithium very, very quickly if you eat sugar. You use up lithium very quickly if you're under stress. You use up lithium very quickly if you're really happy. Because here's another reason why we lose our happiness, although it's really comparing. We're looking at that. And we only compare. Comparing is not making you unhappy as long as you feel I have what I need. Now, one of the symptoms of comparing too much that's common for women is resentment, is you're comparing what I give versus what they give to me. Another one is something people don't want to admit to, and I don't want to push it on people, but some people really can feel it, and that is the depth of unhappiness is jealousy, is that we compare ourselves to others and we feel we're not good enough. Then if you're in touch with your emotion of not good enough, you will feel angry that they have more, and you'll invent all kind of stories, in your mind, which is that rich people are bad. And that was, rich people are bad. And the flip side of rich people are bad is if I have more, I feel guilty. This is why you'll get all the liberals who in the Western world, which have a better life. They often call them the housewives or the women with lots of money. Yeah, women by nature are people pleasers. And then when you have lots of money and you're a people pleaser, you feel really guilty having more. You want to help all those people and you feel bad for them. So yeah, we should let all those people come into our house, come into our country. It's our house. But are they really going to let it come into your neighborhood, you wealthy people? No, you don't want that. You want other people, not you. This is what anyway, enough on that. But it's the liberal mindset is good. Conservative mindset is good. One is feminine, one is masculine. And what we need is the right balance. I write a book on that one time, but I occasionally refer to that, which is the right political balance and so forth. I have to stay out of politics. You say anything about who you voted for, whatever, you lose half the people in the country. We're so divided when it comes to that. How does one know how much lithium is in one's body? If you're stressed, you don't have enough. And how much you need is basically how much are you using it up during the day. You need only 1 little gram of it in your bloodstream. But if you're stressed, you're using it up and you have none. So generally, holistic doctors recommend 5 milligrams a day, and they often themselves will produce take 10 milligrams a day. And then it's bonded to like 300 or 400 milligrams of orotic acid, which is a substance in mother's milk. And then we have, the John Gray formula, which is fantastic, which is to go along with the balancing factor, left or right hemisphere, yin and yang, the balancing factor of dopamine and serotonin. I'll see what Happy Not Rich says because he's joined us today. My wife always says everyone has different question paper. So it is okay to have different answer sheets. Oh, people have different questions and different answer sheets. She is my support beam. Lucky to have her. That sounds great. What I'm hearing there is love. I didn't really get the metaphor, but I'm sure if I had more time to think about it, I could get it. But we all are different. I guess question implies needs, and we all have different needs. Women have primary needs. Men have primary needs. And then as men and women, we have a whole, in this book here, I talk about the primary, how to get what you want what you have. The primary 12 buckets that we have, just like in health, we need to have vitamin C. We need to have vitamin D. We need to have vitamin E, vitamin B, 6 kinds of vitamin B, we have these basic needs that have been researched for 100 years to figure this out. What are your essential needs and where can you get them in your diet? And if you can't get them in diet, here are these more natural supplements. They're not all natural, but they're manufactured, but they're close to natural. Some are more natural than others. Minerals are totally natural, okay? It's just rocks, okay? But they have to be bonded in a certain procedure in order to make them delivery into the cell. And this is where the orotic acid comes in. And when they did the research for dementia and the research for Alzheimer's, they found all these different versions of lithium that are out there. And it's my version, the one I'm printing, that I learned from Dr. Nieper, lithium orotate. And then from my experience of 25 years, I have the advanced design. What does it say? It says Venus 1, Mars 1, with a few extra things in there for men and women. And it's called Brain Defense. And it's somewhere it says advanced design. But anyway, it's advanced design because I've been promoting it. I'm the authority. I'm the one who's been seeing it over and over work for people. It's so helpful right away. We talked about ADD. We'll talk more about that. But, vitamin C, grapeseed extract, and then some lithium, boom. You'll have much, much less ADD symptoms. And always, then you have reality. Men will always have a tendency to procrastinate more than women. Women will always have a tendency to overgive and to do too much. That's a force of nature that goes out of balance very easily when we don't get what we need. And then symptoms of us not getting what we need are jealousy and resentment and simply unhappiness. Happy. I need money help for next month with home bills and food. I am single mom. My father usually helps. I'm very grateful. Now I have a relationship, 11 years. Now I have a relationship, 11 years single. Do I ask a man now? He just moved in. No, okay, I got to relax here. First of all, why is he moving in? Sounds like he doesn't have any money. If he doesn't have any money, back off. Go slow. Go slow. You don't want to have a relationship where a man's depending on you for money, and you really don't want to have a relationship with a man where you don't have money and he's moving in. Oh my gosh, it's just like a disaster for happy. So I want you to be happy. I'm not saying you shouldn't move in. I don't know all the dynamics, but I made some very important points there. And make sure you're reading if you're going to be with a man. But not having any money, and then sort of your money is for the man to provide a home for him, sort of like your way of getting him to give you money. It's a little bit, well, it's all in survival. This is survival level stuff. So this is where, this is part of why I'm creating my money mastery class, for all the people, because quite often it's the people who have big hearts. They be more on their female side. They don't have what it takes to go out and make money, and they tend to be poor. And then you have people with no female side. They tend to be the richest people in the world. They're the psychopaths at the very top. They are the patriarchy. When feminists talk about the patriarchy, it's only like 0.01% of the population. That's the patriarchy. They make all the rules. They're the corrupt politicians. They control the corrupt politicians. They manipulate everything in the planet. It's just like we have no idea of the club. I was invited into the club. I don't know if everybody knows. This is the club where they give you tons of money as long as you do what they ask. They gave me $1 million and to support my product sales. And one day they manipulated the media. So in one day I made $1 million selling my products. And then the guy who was doing that said, yeah, we really like your message and we really want to help you. And we do it online and you say what your needs are. We make sure it gets done. And they're all billionaires and you will become one too. We like your message. You just have to make a few changes. I said, no way am I going to make a few changes. This is the whole corruption. Money corrupts. All it takes for your pastor, if you got a pastor at a church and you want him to just change one little piece of the message, you just pay the pastor a lot of money. Oh, it's just one little thing. You see, anybody's doing good, just pay him a little extra money and get your idea in there, their eye in there, and then you get further and further into it. That's corruption. Money corrupts. What does it say? What Jesus said? I think for a wealthy man, getting into heaven, it's like getting into the eye of the needle. It's hard. And again, it's when you're wanting, what you're wanting is not congruent with fulfilling all of your needs. And for anybody with money and success, your major need then is to share that and with fairness. And we live in the legitimate complaint about the Western capitalistic system is too far. It goes too far in having CEOs make, $20 million a year or these astronomical numbers on a company that goes bankrupt. It's just like, suck it up. And the whole system of buying everything up. I don't know if you know with real estate, what happened is they just keep increasing the value of real estate. And what that does is it makes it so people can't afford it and then they have to rent. And then the people with money keep buying more and more houses and they make it too wealthy, too expensive for people. And then in order to have a house, you have to now work for the system. I mean, it's a big game out there and we can transcend that. And this is why I have my money mastery course for people so they don't have to buy into that system and have a greater sense of self-sufficiency without having to be poor or without having to give up what you want to do. Because ultimately, success principles is you have to get beyond survival and then you can have the great success and the fulfillment of your destiny, fulfilling your destiny and getting what you basically need and being happy with what you need. So today, the thief of happiness is comparing, always comparing. That's what jealousy is. Why do they have it and I don't have it? We're going to do a lesson on jealousy in a minute. Such a great teacher. The best teacher in the world for me was jealousy, and I'll share that story. But why do we get jealous? Okay, the bottom line is we're not getting what we need in order to find hormonal balance, in order to be in a non-stress state, in order to align with our pineal gland. And by the way, what helps awaken the pineal gland is you start doing the supplements that I recommend. You start, anything that lowers your stress is going to start helping your pineal gland open up. And and some other things. I'm not going to go into that whole thing, but practicing regular meditation or stress-reducing activities is always going to help purify your pineal gland, and cleansing programs that I recommend to help cleanse the pineal gland. We'll do a whole show on that once we have the supplements to support it. But that's very, very important. But then you have to do the practice. There's breathing practices, there's physical practices, and meditation practices that I recommend. But there's others. I'm not, the be-all, end-all. It's the principle behind them is apply the principle. And I have mine. And mine are always easy. I'm always like focused on easy, easy, easy. So let's look at the time and see where we're at here. We still have some time. I'd like Rich. I talked a lot today about coaching. And coaching, besides having the information, you see, you're all hearing this information, and I know it helps. There's no doubt about it. But when you can then talk to a coach and share your problems or your challenges or your goals, they help clarify it. It's having somebody ask you what you want. I mean, it was like if this, my whole life's changing just because of what I just came up with today, which is the 3 courses that we're going to teach. We have all the information to do it. We're going to put it together. It's what I've been putting together for a long time, but then crystallizing what I did today and the motivation and sharing it and so forth. It's the full moon of the astrological sign of the teacher. And so I, being a teacher, was totally inspired during that time to even teach more, to share more, to help more. And it's because my pineal gland's clear and I get the information, which we often might call intuition, for sure. But just because you feel something is right, you might think that's your intuition. But if what goes along with what you feel is not feeling happy, then your intuition's going to be wrong. Unhappiness is your guide in life. Suffering is your guide in life. You can't progress. Every major change you make in your life is going to be based upon some felt suffering. And in letting go of the suffering is the process that I teach, which is the fulfilling your needs. And one of our needs is emotional intelligence. And that's one that we're severely missing in this world today is emotional intelligence, which is how to identify when you're stressed, the patterns that ruin your life, and recognize you're responsible for the problems in your life. And then when you recognize I'm creating my problem, now you have an attitude that allows you to go deeper. And how are my thoughts and my beliefs creating my negative emotions? And how the process through feeling my negative emotions and going to another negative emotion and another negative emotion and another, always knowing there's deeper levels of emotions. Then getting back to what the source of that negative emotion, which is an unfulfilled need. What is it I want? And by expressing your wants at that point, they start to self-purify and you begin to become aware of what your needs are. And what your needs are will be congruent with what you value. And so, for me, I need to teach. If I don't teach, I'm unhappy. Oh, I mentioned this thing before. I never finished it. Such a great concept. For people that do a lot of personal growth, they want to grow. That's a beautiful quality. I want to develop my potential, but I keep suffering. Why am I not like John? Why am I not fulfilled and happy? Which, by the way, I suffer too. I just quickly go through it. And then learn from it and grow from it. So I'll share this thought. This all came out. Everything I'm providing now, the inspiration, the motivation to do it, is the suffering I'm experiencing is that, this beautiful book comes out, which is for women only, and it's not shooting to the top of the list. It went right to the top, and it's not there. I need to, make that book more successful. So the way I can do that, I go, okay, I'm suffering. I'm here to bring this message. This is so important for relationships. How do I get it out there? So once you take these classes and you have money mastery and you're making money with the Mars Venus brand, you're making money on it, marketing for me, the Mars Venus brand. So then people buy my books. And when people buy my books, I don't care about making money off of you. I'm going to have the people buying my books. And that was get this message out there. So anyway, so that came all because of the suffering I felt that my book wasn't out there. Now, part of that suffering, which is a theme in my life, which is I'm not, whenever you're feeling not enough, really what's going on is different needs, like if you're sick, certain vitamins, certain minerals, certain molecules that you can get from your food, and certain foods are missing, and what's in those foods is missing, and so you're sick. Same thing if you're not successful. Same thing if you're not happy. That's our big theme today, is happy. When you're not happy, you're feeling not enough. You start to feel not enough when you compare. So if you're happy and then you see somebody with something more than you and you get unhappy, and you get jealous, or you feel resentful, or you feel unmotivated. That would be more from the male side. You get depressed, or you have anxiety of feeling not good enough. Okay, that's another dynamic. That's more the male side, as you give up. Passivity. For women, it's not so much passivity, but it's resentment and jealousy. Yeah, I'd love to see John Gray and Megyn Kelly as well. It's probably doubtful, although, that's the reality. I was canceled when I turned down I got the $1 million, and I turned down the club. The club could make me on every single show right away. I used to be on every single show. Every show in the 90s, I was on, in demand, and in one basically week or something, nobody wanted me on their show because a switch was turned off. The narrative is not to make marriages work. The narrative is not to make people healthy. The narrative, and here he's doing it. And people love what I have to say. I was just looking at some of our promotional videos in China. 7,000 people, these huge audiences of people coming to hear what I have to say. And yet I used to have that in America. Some 7, some 5, some 3, thousands of people would come. Until then, I wasn't allowed on the media, which used to promote me. Basically, everybody loves this message. Every talk show wanted me on. I was the Today Show, Good Morning America show, Oprah show, 18 times Oprah, coaching Oprah. Everybody had me, and one day, we've done you, and thank you so much. We love you, but we can't do you. And I remember Katie Couric, and I don't know the details on this, but what I heard is that when Katie Couric left NBC, one of the things there was that she wanted to do a 6-part series on me. She's a lovely lady, had a good relationship with her, and she wanted to go more deeply into it. And they said no. Why? She wanted to do it. So she left at that point, probably not just because of me, but them not letting her do her own projects. Just to top up, said no. You have to realize all the media is owned by 3 people. They can decide whatever they want, and their decision is that we don't want people, we don't want marriage, and we don't want to promote the idea that men and women are different. The universities have courses basically convincing you, brainwashing you, that there's not that much difference between men and women, and that we're all the same. We're not all the same. This is my whole message. It's like, viva la difference. Let's learn to understand our differences, appreciate our differences. We'll love each other more, and we learn to harmonize conflict. There's conflict in the world because we don't know how to harmonize differences. The world's different. People are different. Maybe that was the questions in the rule book somebody was talking about. But the question is that when you can harmonize the differences between men and women, which are often at odds with each other, it used to be called the war of the sexes. When you can make peace and connect and experience greater love with the differences coming together, now you've developed a skill, a talent of unconditional love and seeing the good in differences and bringing them together. And Jandrina says, I'm committed to this teaching. Fantastic. I don't know if you're one of my coaches, but become one of my coaches. This is really wonderful. Rich.
She is, John.
She is. Oh, she is. Yeah. And this is happy. My life's been transformed with John Gray, and also the insights from Allison Armstrong and Jordan Peterson. Beautiful. Allison is a beautiful lady. She also understands how men and women are different, and she has a wonderful following. Jordan Peterson, when I share the whole thing about the psychopaths who run the world, he enlightened me to that because, there's this whole feminist thing. Always men are bad. And of course, I know men aren't bad. Men are wonderful. Half the male population is happily married. These are great guys producing children and babies. It's just starting to shrink. And yes, in certain countries, the cultures are so bad, they don't pay men money. And so men become dysfunctional and alcoholics and drug addicts, and they can't support their wives. So yeah, they're all like very, very unhappy at the survival level. In a culture and a politics that doesn't help men feel successful at the survival level. But we're in the Western world, we've sort of mastered the survival level to some extent. So it's emotional issues that come up here. But what Jordan was pointing out to this woman, made him famous, this feminist who was trying to downplay men. And Jordan Peterson, famous interview, he says, who are you talking about? these corrupt men that you're talking about, this is like less than 1%. These are the rulers. Men, we're the workers. We built the houses. We do this. We do all the hours of work and everything to build this world, and the railroads and the airplanes and the technology and the computers. Who is it? Women? No, women were busy their side of life, making life beautiful, improving men, opening men's hearts. Raising children, raising healthy boys with self-esteem, with motivation. We can't do it without women, and women can't do it without us. And those are not exactly his words, but his words were, who are these bad men? These men are amazing. And yeah, there are some bad men, not a doubt. And if we look at criminals, it's only 1% of the population of men that are in jails, and that's the lower level criminals. It's 0.001%, which are the real criminals that create unhappiness for everybody. It's the people who write our textbooks to indoctrinate people into these ideas. You don't realize, see, we're all grown-ups. You don't know what they're putting into the books now. This whole idea of I can't even remember the words, but it's equity. I think that's it. Inclusion and equity. They all sound so good. Equity means, so you have to understand this. I've had teachers say, no, that's not what equity means. Yes, that's what they mean. Look it up. Equity means that everybody gets the same amount. Everybody gets the same. This is what they want to create, is smart cities where everybody gets paid the same amount of money every month for just existing. So you get and you have to spend your money by the end of the month, and you can't go anywhere. You're monitored all the time. You have no free will. You have to do exactly what they ask. You have to eat the foods that they ask, and you're monitored on what you can spend, and you will have your basic needs for survival met. And what will we do then if you don't have to work? Well, you'll play video games. Or you'll do things that are interesting to you. And to some people, they go, that's a utopian society. It's death. It's death to a society. There's this great study that they did with mice, and people aren't mice, but we can learn from it. It's what I believe will happen if we were to go that way. But we'll suffer too much and we'll change. God controls. We suffer when we go too far out of balance. And it's the suffering that helps motivate us to stop doing the things that cause suffering. But they did this study many, many times, and the same thing happened. They start with a group of mice, and they give them plenty of space, so there's territory. See, wars start because, people, I want more land. I have to have my land. I want my space. I want my place of control. So they give them all the space. So there's no fighting for space. And there's males and females. And they've multiplied. You do the study with mice because they multiply so quickly. And having lots of sex, they're making babies, and they have plenty of food. There's always plenty of food everywhere. So there's never a hunt for food. It's always available. So if the food is always available, there's no challenge, there's no danger, men become weak. And when men become weak, women lose attraction to the men. And this is what happens. This amount of sex stops between the male and the female, and then the men basically are not interested in the women anymore. And the women are not interested in the men anymore. And the men become more interested in themselves. So they become pretty boys. And the women become basically living amongst women, saying, we don't need men at all. We're better than men. And so nobody has sex. And then they die every time. They multiply, and then they die. Population just goes down. And what you've heard them say, this is the World Economic Forum, they say our goal is to reduce the population by 80%. Bill Gates gets up there and says that, we got too many people. We gotta cut out the people. And I'm just quoting him. I'm not conspiracy or anything. I'm just quoting him. He says, yeah, we think we're going to do this with education. And that makes sense, educating people, the importance of not just having a lot of babies. It seems to be the more educated people are, the less babies they have, because you feel more self-sufficient within yourself, so that you're not dependent on your children to support you when you get older. You can do it yourself. That's one reason. Another one is people are more educated. They realize you can't give your children everything they need if you don't have enough money. So money is a shortage. So create a shortage of money and you get a shortage of children. So education is one thing. And then birth control is the other. And they say, so we're going to teach people to birth control, have sex with no consequences. Just go have a birth control. So they normalize abortion. It's just normalized, like, it's nothing. It's not nothing. It's a significant thing. So you normalize that. So encourage women to go have sex, have babies, and get rid of them, like it's no big deal. So we've taught birth control, we've taught education, and the third, and he says it right there, and then we have vaccinations. Now, how are vaccinations going to help reduce the population of the world? Maybe you might put some thought into that. And of course, one of his biggest sources of income after, he was kicked out of Microsoft, almost went to jail, would have gone to jail if he wasn't a billionaire. He then makes all his money with vaccines. And he even talks about it. In 1 year, I went from 10 billion to 100. No, it was 10 million to 100 million in 1 year. He was just bragging about his vaccine company. And of course, he's out there pushing vaccines and so forth. Anyway, so enough on all that. Happiness. So what can happen is I can hear that stuff and that can take away my happiness because I can compare that with how the world I would want it to be. But I don't really get that upset. I'm doing my lane. I'm doing what I can. So that's a big part of what happiness is one of my buckets, one of my needs, one of my love needs. I have regular making love with my wife. For me, it's sexual. It doesn't have to be sexual for every couple, but I have that. I have friends, male friends. I do male things together. It just last night, it was... I was feeling stressed out, right before something big happens, always there's some stress. I even said to my wife, she says, "You're so stressed." And I said, "Yeah, it was about something that happened." And I said, "But I know that tomorrow's going to be great." And it did. But even a minute later, it turned out that on that day was my night to go to the movies with my friend, Clifford. And just the thought of, I just go talk to Clifford, go watch a movie, go hang out together, felt fantastic because that need... See, we have a need to bond with our own sex appropriately, a need to bond with women, the opposite sex appropriately, and we have a need to bond with ourselves appropriately. We have a need to take care of our body. We need to be responsible for our survival. We need to be in a win-win situation. We need to work. We need unconditional love. We need spiritual development. We need to develop and educate ourselves, constantly learning new things and applying new things, personal development. All needs. And if you're not doing all of them, then what happens is they empty out. You have to maintain them. It's kind of like, they're like buckets. They fill up, but they drain out. They just drain out. It doesn't stay up. It's what they want to do with the smart cities. They want to give you enough money to survive, basically, and play your video games. And you're going to go on Meta and travel the world in your video cameras and live in your little cocoon, disconnect from people, have robots do everything for you. That's their vision. And then what happens is they give you money and you only get the money for a month. Because see, if you could hoard your money or save your money, you could end up with more and get more in life. No, they want everybody to be the same. That's what equity is. Everybody gets the same whether you work or not. And they're going to do that. And, they're preparing us for it. The countdown in the West was in America, 2 years, they were paying us to stay home. People became really lazy then. There's a whole study of not that we are, what are these little creatures that hop around? They make you itch. I started itching myself to remember, not lice, but fleas. Okay, so fleas, they're so little, you can get thousands of fleas and put them in a jar. And they'll jump out of the jar. They're going to be jumping out. They like to jump all over the place, and you can barely see them. And those fleas are jumping out. If you put a roof on them for 3 days, make them stay home, take off the roof, and they won't fly out. It's conditioned responses, and we're most vulnerable to conditioning whenever we're feeling danger. So what you see on the news all the time is danger, danger, danger. So, and that is a need for me. My need is to know what's going on in the world. That's more of an adult need. As you get older, you're more concerned about the world. But if I was just concerned about the world, like people who watch the news all the time, I'd be all stressed out. Except to me, it doesn't bother me. It's kind of like just watching a movie, and it's not my lane. It inspires me to bring my work into the world more. It inspires me to take more time to meditate, find my inner peace, trust in God, know that this is all a big drama, and I get to play my role in it. People say, if there is a God, why are there so many problems? Why doesn't God come and help them? Well, that's you. God gave birth to you to go out there and do one piece of the problem to solve. That's what we're all here to do. A bunch of problems, and we get to enjoy solving those problems. If there's no problems, there's no movement in life. It's always about how can I help and who needs help. And to help, I need help. So it works a perfect thing. And I need your help. Please make sure that you share this with other people. And that's a good thing to do. I want to let you know that these people who are really into personal growth and they feel like they're stagnating, it's because they have a gift. It's part of their destiny is to help other people, coaching other people in the things that you're interested in, you're doing for yourself. It's because you have been developing this ability But if you don't use that ability to help others, because you have that ability, you'll just keep applying it to yourself. You'll keep applying it to yourself. It's like I have this ability. Some people have this ability to heal, and then they get sick because they're not healing other people. I have the ability to teach people about relationships. If I'm not teaching relationships, I'll start using my power to make my relationship better. And how do I make my relationship better? Have problems and then solve those problems. Well, I don't have to have problems because I get to hear all your problems or my clients' problems. I get to solve their problems. And their problems are always some degree a mirror of something I'm working on. You'll only attract people in your life that have challenges and issues that reflect something that you've a little bit behind where you are, so you can help them. But it's always sort of affirming what I've learned, what I do. I always laugh when people say, does your wife think that you live your message? Yeah, my wife says he's totally what he says he is. And my wife now, after Bonnie died, she'll say, John is an example. He does everything he teaches. And if you, well, wasn't that hard to do for you? I said, no, because what I teach is not, you don't have to be perfect. You don't have to be perfect. And it's easy stuff once you know it. I know it's hard and it's tough. It's like wandering in the darkness. I remember I was, one time I went to the, bringing this into the story, but it gives color to my talks. I was at, what is the thing that happens in August where everybody goes and into the desert and they create their own city? What is that called? Rich, do you know that?
Burning Man.
Burning Man. Okay, the Burning Man. All these people go to the Burning Man. Boy, did I suffer there. Oh my God, did I suffer, because it was so huge. And at night, I couldn't find my way back. It's 70,000 people there, and there's no address, there's nothing. And I was on a bicycle. I couldn't find my bicycle. Somebody took it. I was at the Burning Man. I only needed to go once to see what it's like. For me, not my big deal. And I'll tell you the funny story about that is when everybody said you got to do it, says, oh, I'll just see what it is. You buy sort of an outfit, some kind of outfit to wear. So everybody's wearing these outfits and different types of outfits to express different parts of who you are. And they're signing in and they're saying, so what outfit are you going to wear, and so forth. Actually, I just was told you have to have an outfit. So I went and I had the outfit. And I'm talking to this guy and I said, so what's the point of wearing the outfit? And he says so clearly, he says, it's so you can be whatever you want to be. And immediately I then took off the outfit, put on my normal clothes. I said, this is who I want to be. I want to be me, and I am me. And so this is my outfit. I do this. And so it was a whole different experience for me, but I got to go around for days everywhere where I was. People would gather around. I would just give talks and whatever on relationship. It's such a wonderful topic. And with all the science in it, it's so interesting. It's so informative. It's so helpful. And relationships is one of the biggest challenges. I know making money is a challenge too. I mean, there's all these ways that you can more easily get a good foundation for your security. And then we'll eventually have once you're making more money, how to then invest your money. There's other people who are more accomplished at that than me. So I'm developing that course right now, but that will take a while before I use the stock market to make money. There's ways to do it very safely and not lose money. And you just build and build and build instead of being in a hurry for the big breakthrough. It's a compounding interest build up. And I know some people that are doing that. And so we might provide that course for people as well, but only because it's safe and I've experienced it. Meanwhile, I know the other one, which I can teach people, and we can set it up for you so you can start making money right away to help you. And also coaching. If you find that you're having the problems over and over, it's because you have the solution to those problems. So you need to find somebody with those problems and use your gift of teaching or helping or supporting in some way. And I do this with depressed women quite a bit. I just say, every woman, her fulfillment is to nurture those who have less. For men, it's the fulfillment is to nurture or provide for those who are nurturing those with less. See, there's a dynamic of husband takes care of wife so wife can take care of children. In a sense, like, my wife now is, because we don't have children together and my children are all grown up and so forth. Her child is here though, and so we have that. But I've just watched, her son is 16 and so you don't have the same feeling towards a 16-year-old that you have towards the little children. So she got these two little tiny white puppies. She has become just in love. It's like her own babies now. She can just be with her little puppies and take care of them. And I realized this is her needing to give unconditional love. rather than give unconditional love to me and then expect more back. See, a marriage relationship is very reciprocal. You know, a woman needs to give to a man in response to what he gives to her. And when a woman's response is equal to what he gives to her, not more, not less, that motivates him to keep giving more. And these are our skills, is learning how to help couples understand to do that. Rich is on the line. I want you to, if you're still there, Rich, could you tell everybody about, some people are intimidated to become a coach. And I'm giving a talk here that if you have this talent and you're really interested in relationships, start coaching people. Because we not only teach you how to do it, we give you courses to teach that will bring people into your business. And we also help you to know how to do it and know how to market yourself. And that's part of how I first got aligned with Rich, because Rich had an amazingly successful business. He had a coaching business as well, but he loved the Mars-Venus principles. And so he came together with my Mars-Venus information and his ability to help people make money and market themselves and organize my material into practical courses. So we've come together.
That was a long time ago, John.
Why don't you tell everybody? That's a long time ago, he said. But I'd like you to talk a little bit briefly about that, but then also what inspired you to become the leader of Mars-Venus coaching and what coaching is and why people become a coach.
And that's part of the problem, John. People don't. So they think, I have to be a counselor or a therapist or like you, John. Coaching really, to keep it simple, is only three things. One, bringing clarity to that person you're coaching. And we have a tool you made years ago called an alignment that does that. Once they have clarity, then we just craft a plan with them of how to go from where they are now to that plan, to that goal, to that, where do I want to be in a year from now, in 6 months from now. And then once you have that plan put together, it's all about accountability. We're holding them accountable to doing the plan every week. Sometimes I've had a coach for more than 12 years, the same one. And I'm going to tell you now, I don't want to let him down. So I have a love-hate relationship with him. Sometimes, he makes me feel good. Sometimes he holds me accountable. And I just need that little bit of push to get out of my comfort zone. And that's all it is. It's not that complicated, but we're the ones who add gender intelligence to it. How does a man want to be coached? How does a woman want to be coached? How do you coach a couple, a man and a woman, in the same session? So you have to learn that to be effective at Mars-Venus. We're the only school that teaches that. We're also the only school that teaches, okay, now you know how to coach. How do I get a client? How do I retain that client long term? These are skills that you can learn, and no schools teach it. It's kind of like going to university. You finish and they wave goodbye. Bye, good luck. No, here we support you every step of the way in implementing everything they learn in 19 weeks. It takes almost 5 months to get certified. So we're very proud of the program because we have literally everybody graduates and everybody starts getting clients right away. Now we have another course, John, to tell everybody. If you don't want to coach people, but you want to get the value of the gender intelligence, that's a gender intelligence course. You actually get certified as a gender intelligence specialist. But you don't want to use it for other people. You don't run another business. So you do one where you become a coach and you do one where it's just for you and your family. It's amazing stuff because here's the bottom line, John. Everything you teach, very few people know it. Yeah, you may have sold 50 million books, but half of them didn't read it. They have it on the shelf. They have good intentions, but they really didn't read it. And then a step beyond that, they didn't apply it.
Well, let me tell you, the people that bought my book did read it, Rich, at least the first 5 chapters. Women read the whole thing.
Yeah.
Men read the first 4 or 5 chapters, and they go, I got it. Now I make sense of a woman. They don't have to read the whole thing. But as they become more enlightened, that information becomes more and more important. They just don't know what they don't know. Men have no idea what they don't know. And women think they know, and they don't know. So they don't know what they don't know either, and so they blame men quite a bit because they think they know everything, which is good for them, and they tend to be more relationship oriented. But I've heard so many people say this is the only book I read all the way through. So they do read it, but they don't always apply it. You need help to apply it. And even my daughter Lauren, who's written these amazing courses. Understanding Men, which is really the foundation, inspired me to write this book for women only. And another book, How to Get Your Me Time, Balance Your Life. 2 courses, our most popular courses at Mars Venus, particularly for women. She, being married, now she's married 12 years, she says, Dad, I'm just so glad that I get to, teach these ideas, because when I'm not, because when she got pregnant and she had a baby, she stopped teaching the ideas for a while. I forget it. You need to be reminded of it. You need to be able to talk to somebody and express. And then while you're talking about it, then you start realizing, oh yeah, I already know I shouldn't have done that. Most of my long-term clients, they'll say, all right, I know what you're going to say, but I want to first talk. And then once they talk, then it's like, and then what am I going to say? And then they say it and they really hear it. And sometimes they don't always know what I'm going to say. Because in my sessions, I first make people talk about it, explore it, feel your feelings, so you're open to receiving, and then wisdom just comes right out of them. Kind of a secret, because my connection to my higher self was through my meditation, celibacy, and my dedication to that in my life, that I'm connected to my higher self. And everybody has a higher self, and the only time you experience suffering is when you're not connected to your higher self, giving you the answers to what you're going through. So whenever I'm suffering, I'm not connected to my higher self, but I process my feelings. It brings me back to the answer. So I find all the answers and for my own problems. And when people come to me for counseling, if I just hear them, what their problems are, the only reason they have their problems is they have the answer. It's coming from their higher self, but because they're not listening to their higher self, because they're in a stress state, they can't hear it. But because I'm in my higher self hears what their solution is. That's all my ideas. Most of them came from listening to the higher self of people who weren't listening to their own higher self, which had the answers to their problems. The answers are always there, but we have to suffer often, because suffering is the symptom of not listening to your higher self. It's kind of like we're blindfolded. We go through life and then we wander off, we will suffer. And then that suffering, if we can feel the emotions that go with it and process the emotions, the emotional intelligence to bring us back to our true self, then we self-correct. Everything is self-correct. And if you don't have such a great connection with your higher self to self-correct, and you feel confused and you don't know what to do and why is this happening, that's what we have our books. That's what coaching is about. Is it just gives us an opportunity to express what's going on in a safe setting, and that is the expression of what's going on, so we can connect with our higher self. And you as a coach, you will always start connecting to their higher self and see everybody's had this experience of hearing other people's problems, and you can look at them and know what's best for them. You just can't always know what's best for yourself. Go ahead, Rich, talk a little bit more what people don't know about coaching.
Well, like I said at the beginning, they don't really know what it is. A lot do equate therapy with coaching. They think they're the same thing. And when we explain that therapy has its value, it's looking backward. Coaching has its value in looking forward. I don't get into the psychology of where they were when they were 5 years old. I just say, what do you want to do now? Because that's looking forward. And then putting that clarity, they start making changes even before we put the plan together, because they stuck their head out of the sand and looked around and go, oh, this is my life. Those questions that you created on the alignment are so powerful that people start changing immediately.
Oh, Rich, I have a question here. I think it's appropriate since someone asked it. Does it cost anything up front to coach? Well, the answer, you'll talk more on this. It doesn't cost you anything to coach. We don't ask our coaches to pay us anything, but we have a training course. And Rich can tell you what the training course costs and what it is. And also, we continue coaching you as part of that training. And then afterwards, most of our coaches will continue hiring other coaches to keep coaching them. And we provide, we have our expert coaches that people will continue getting coaching. Because part of the whole realization is that the benefit of coaching is when you start getting coaching yourself, you realize how helpful it is. Then you want to continue getting that coaching. So anyway, do you want to talk about that?
Well, I do want to say we are not a franchise, if that's what it sounds like. We don't get a % of your coaching fees that a client would pay you. What we do is there's a fee to be trained. That's the 5 months. That fee is $6,400. You can pay it in payments. So we're not about the money. We're about the right people on the bus with us. Once you pay that, there is no fees at all. Those fees, whatever the client pays you, I know in a franchise, they have to give you, 9% or 12%. I had a lot of background in franchising. I don't like the model. And so therefore here we are just a license. And that license grants you to be able to use our workshops and teach them. It grants you the permission to use the brand and the materials and the workshops and, our system that works literally coaching anybody, because you're just going to take them through a process. So that process is literally laid out. First session, we're giving clarity. We use that document that you created. Then we go into the planning, which is all documented. Then we go into the week-to-week measuring where they were on a scale last week. What strategies did they employ? Where are they now on the scale? And what are the new strategies for next week? So that's a methodical system that helps men and women. We coach them very differently, but the results are the same.
And what if I was wanting to get coaching from one of our Mars Venus coaches, what would that cost me for a session or a series?
Anywhere from $500 to $1,000, depending on your region. I don't charge the same in Nigeria that we do in California. So it just depends on the territory, but it's anywhere from $500 a month. They pay you as a coach, and you keep all of that money, and up to $1,000.
And so that's how many sessions do you get for $500?
A month. So it's 4 sessions, one every week for that $500.
So that's very, very, very reasonable.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We want to most of our coaches have 10, 15, 20, some 25, 30 clients. They do it full time. And some of our coaches say, I have a full-time job. I'll do it on the weekends. I'll get 3 clients for a Saturday and 2 or 3 for a Sunday, or the evenings when I get home. So when they do that, you can build a business that has $2,000 in revenue up to $20,000 in revenue.
And you see that happening with our coaches.
What you want to put into it.
Yeah. I mean, it's amazing. And you get the joy if it's your value system, if you like helping people. And most of the people that listen to me, that's part of your destiny. If you're drawn to me, it's somebody who has wisdom and wants to share that wisdom. It's kind of like me. I was drawn to my teacher, who was a world famous teacher at the time, and just couldn't. I took every course he ever taught, actually, and then he kind of retired, and then I left. Okay, and didn't teach what he taught. Actually, what I did for me is I got my. Why I was drawn to him is I needed a role model of a man being a successful teacher and happy and fulfilled at the same time. But his teaching wasn't what I was to teach. So I developed my own teaching, our own brand.
John, I followed your same footsteps. I found you. And I've taken every course you've ever done. I've read every book you've written. I've created it into courses that we teach the coaches so they can be like I am, a mini John Gray, and teach this wherever they want.
And all of our coaches are that, they're wonderful,
Yeah.
but they're aligning themselves. And what's interesting about our coaching is we're not like a cult. We don't say you can't add other things to it. We like all the other systems. If you've already learned NLP or you've learned these various different systems, it just adds to it. We're just an add-on. And the amazing thing, if you're already a coach out there, you've been through a coach training, we're the add-on that nobody has. It's always beneficial.
Yeah. So I wanted to learn that because I was a business coach when I had my own business. And actually, I did not feel fulfilled. Here, people are telling me, you've changed my life. Not one client ever said that in business coaching. This is the most fulfilling thing I've ever done in my life.
It's amazing. It's amazing. Keith is over saying it really helps to have someone in your corner that's looking out for your best. Absolutely. Absolutely. What's interesting, when I put it through my filter of gender intelligence, it's the female side of us needs somebody in our corner that's got our back, who's always there for us. We know we can get their love and support is there. And it's the male side of us that wants accountability. Okay, that needs accountability, which, it's like, because a guy's going to not want to, I'm not enthusiastic to go tell my coach that I didn't do what I said I was going to do. And they will get unconditional love, but they will also have to be a little embarrassed, okay? And that's good. We like negative emotions. Let's process the negative emotions that come up. And what you didn't mention as well as part of our coaching program and one of our tools is under helping people recognize once they have clarity, what's holding them back is understanding the different blocks, that hold us back, and belief systems that hold us back. And we help to process and give them tools in their own life to process their feelings. In my coaching sessions, I don't always just process people's feelings. Sometimes, we have conversations, we talk strategies, we answer questions. And then I give them the homework is using the app to process their feelings, and this is something where it's just come out this year. So more and more of the coaches are using it for them personally, and then you can help other people go through it. It's a learning process, but it's a tool that can help people explore their feelings more deeply. Here's somebody says, it's such a joy to have you, John, and your beautiful team, Ellen, Rich, Samar, and the office staff, to find people who resonate with my birth mission in such a privilege and sacred to me. Well, thank you so much. That's beautiful, beautifully said. Yeah, we have a great team. And the other thing, just to mention, we don't ask for money after you've gone through the course. You're independent. You're free. You're done doing your thing. But we do provide these vacations, okay, where you pay your own way on the vacation. But we go to different places in the world where we go on vacation of like minds. It's like many of the groups. I know Tony Robbins has his big group, and they pay $100,000 a year just to be on a vacation, and they pay all the expenses of their vacation themselves. But just to be in a group of like mind, they find that valuable. And so we don't charge you. Do we charge for that, or just?
It's because we include the hotel room, the meals, 3 meals a day, the breaks, the activities.
Oh, we do that.
It's around $3,000.
Yeah, so it's it's a vacation basically, and you get to hang out with all these people. And then I come and I teach, or Richard teaches. And what we do is we have many of our most successful coaches. They also teach, so you get to hear from other people who are learning like you and how to do it. And so you're actually with people who are doing this. And a big part of awakening is to be with other awakened people. There was an experience that when I was a younger guy, this was really very exciting to me, is that my teacher, Maharishi, who founded the TM movement, was one of the biggest, really popularized the research on meditation as it came to the West, and yoga, and then it all became part of the Western world. But he was a major player in that whole thing. And I was sitting with him. There was a period of time where we were all going on these 6-month meditation courses. And it happened for about 3 years. These big courses, thousands of people coming together, meditating together for 6 months. It was a big deal. And then it just happened. And one guy, a friend of mine there, he suddenly had this enlightenment experience. And then the next day I had it. It was like popcorn. Next day somebody else had it. Next day somebody else had it. And it was like this group phenomena of everybody suddenly started experiencing this unbounded awareness, okay? So you're no longer just limited to your body, which is, to me, I have it all the time. It's no big deal. But when you've never felt bigger than yourself, it's quite amazing. And I was sitting with Maharishi because I was his personal assistant. We were alone talking, and he was sharing how, he was saying, it's just amazing. Everybody's having these experiences. And then he said, being him, I've never felt so enlightened. And here I was putting him on a pedestal as this enlightened guy. And he's talking about being more enlightened based on being with people who are experiencing what he experiences on a daily basis. And that's part of the whole thing of group consciousness. That's why whatever the group is, it coming together of like mind with other people expands your awareness and frees you from feeling so isolated in yourself, and enriches whatever it is that you're drawn to. Can you relate to that, Rich, in terms of our coaches and going on these vacations?
Yeah. And just so you know, if you were to be a Mars Venus coach before December 4th, you can attend it. This year is in Punta Cana, Dominican Republic. Last year it was in Sharm el-Sheikh, Egypt. The year before, if you remember, John, we were in Bali. It was amazing. The energy of that room with all those coaches in it.
Yeah.
But I do want to say one last thing, though. I want to end with something. I'm going to tell you now that, and every coach has told me this, after I took this course and I started to coach people, the effect it had on my relationships, it had on me, was invaluable. I would have taken the course just for that, because you're going to leave a session, and I do it all the time, and I go, that's a great idea the client just came up. I should do that too. And my marriage started to change. I was married 17 years when I met you. Now 35. And I'm going to tell you, I tell a lot of people, I'm not sure I would have made it. I'm not sure I would have made it another 17 years had I not known gender intelligence.
Well, I thank you for that sharing, and thank everybody for listening today. We've gone to about 2 hours. I just want to sum up what we've talked about here in terms of the, come back to our title, The Thief of Happiness. It's a famous quote, comparison is the thief of happiness. And really, comparison can be wonderful. My favorite example I shared recently when I was in Kazakhstan is I was in an electric car driving up the mountain, and you couldn't drive up to the beautiful mountains there unless you're in an electric car. So all these people were trudging up the mountain. It was a really hot day, and they're all sweating, and they really didn't look that happy, okay? It was a big walk up. And I'm in my electric car being driven by somebody, and I was smiling, and I realized I was comparing, and I wasn't looking down on them, but I was just so happy I wasn't having to trudge around. I was able just to feel the joy of being in my car with air conditioning going up the hill. And when I did that, I felt that was comparison making me happy. And of course, it is comparison always that makes us happy. When we compare what I do with, if I compare myself to my, what I can do now to what I can do in the future, my improvement. Anytime you improve, you're comparing yourself to what you were doing before. Whenever you're being helpful to other people, you're going to be feeling good enough. And feeling good is comparison to the times when you're not feeling good enough. But why do you feel not good enough? Which is the suffering state, which is we're comparing and we feel less than, we feel not enough. And the reason we feel not enough, and then when we compare, it's painful. We see other people and they have more than me. Then we feel I have not enough. That not enough comes from simple terms. There's basic needs that you have that I've talked about today. 10 different needs, basically. Just if you look at one, self-love, love of another, love of someone like me. 3 basic needs right there. And love of learning. There's another one, learning new things. 4 basic needs. If you're not fulfilling one of those needs, but you're focusing on another need, like let's say it's work and making money, and I'm focusing just on making money, and I'm not focusing on self-love, or I'm not focusing on sharing love, or I'm not focusing on conditional love. These are all love buckets, like minerals, like vitamins that we need to be healthy. I'm focusing too much on one, then the one I'm focusing on will always feel like not enough. It would be like you're eating a meal. Now, normally you eat a meal, and then you don't need the food for a while. See, you fulfill a need, you don't need it for a while. And then you need it again. And you fulfill it, and then you need it again. So these buckets have to be continually fulfilled. But when you're feeling not enough, your brain will tend to focus on the one that's creating danger, like not enough. Your dopamine flares, you get motivated to do that, and it's never going to be enough unless you're aware that anytime you're suffering, you're not getting what you need, and you're looking in the wrong direction for what you need. And that is one of my essential teachings, which I learned from my mother. She was an example of this. She would say it occasionally, but it's stuck in my mind. Little that I know will be the essence of everything I teach later, where she would say, whenever you're unhappy, you're always looking in the wrong direction for what you need. And that what you need is always available. And if you think what you need is not available, you're certainly looking in the wrong direction for what you need. And most people don't know even what they need. They only think what they need is, I've got to buy this new thing, and I've got to buy this new thing, and my husband has to do this, and my wife has to be this, and my wife has to be happy all the time. My husband has to always be present. He has to be certainly romantic all the time. He has to inspire me and motivate me, make me feel safe. All these expectations become unrealistic and demanding and sources of suffering as we compare our partner to what we think they should be. When we compare what we're getting to what we think we should get. All comparison only creates suffering because you're not getting what you need, and you don't get what you need when you don't know what you need. And what you need and getting what you need isn't fulfilling to you if you're getting some of it, but the other buckets of need are not being fulfilled. So when you've got these empty buckets, other needs are being neglected in your life, really the message is not enough. But the feeling of not enough goes with whoever is actually giving you what you want. Like I went to the movies last night. It was wonderful because I don't go to the movies that often. If I'm going to the movies all the time, it would just be boring. It would never be enough. And I would feel it's not enough. I'd be looking for a better movie or whatever. So it's learning to recognize that we always have what we need. And if we think we don't, we're not looking for it. And to a great extent, what I add to that, and most people don't know what they need, so you can't feel it. And for women, you could even be getting what you need from a man. And if you don't know you need that, what you need, then you can't enjoy getting it. If you think, I don't really need that. So all these women feeling, I don't need a man. You could have a man doing everything right for you. And brain will always go, yeah, but he's not this, he's not this, he's not this. So he gets picky. Same thing with men. She's not this, she's not this. She should be this, she should be that. All these unrealistic demands we put on people because we're not attending to the other needs. And it is kind of a cliche, if you want to love other people, you need to love yourself. But that's just one of the needs, without a doubt. And that's the theme of this book for women only, which is be happy with or without a man. The first step for women is learn to be happy without a man, so that then when you have a man, he can make you happier. And if you don't ever want to have a man, at least I teach you the ways to have men in your life who are helping support your feminine side, even though you may not be in a romantic relationship with them. So thank you all for joining me on, I keep remembering the title, The Thief of Happiness, and It's Not What You Think. Certainly comparing on the surface is causing all of our unhappiness, but actually comparing only causes unhappiness when we're not getting what we need. And then when we are getting what we need, our brain will look to, what do I have more of? And be happy about that and enjoy that. And when that goes away, somebody has more, then it doesn't cause the suffering because you're getting what you basically need. Now, I wanted to talk today about jealousy. So we're going to do a whole show on jealousy. It deserves its own show. So for my team, jealousy and ADD are two big talks I want to do.
Got it.
And
yeah, you have an interview right now, John.
Okay, gang. Thank you so much for joining me today, everybody. Thank you, Rich. Thank you, Ken, for handling all the questions and comments that people bring in. And I'm doing my best to try to respond to all the comments. Yeah.
Okay, bye.
Bye-bye, Rich. Bye-bye, Ken. Bye-bye, everybody. Have a great day. Thank you.
Jump on your interview.
Thank you for watching the Shades of Grey podcast with Dr. John Gray, best-selling author of Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus. If you enjoyed today's episode, please like, share, and subscribe. And follow Dr. Gray on all social media platforms for more timeless relationship wisdom. For free tools to create deeper love and better communication, visit marsvenus.com and take Dr. Gray's free course, How to Get Everything You Want in Relationships. And don't miss next week's episode of the Shades of Grey podcast, where understanding brings us closer together.